Thanks for staying with us. So, there was a post we saw. So, a popular Nigerian actress, Stella Damasus, who lives in the US, put out a video saying that she was actually lamenting some of the challenges she faces in Hollywood because Hollywood seems to have a picture of the kind of African actors they expect, and that is always difficult to reconcile because they are refined actors, accomplished actors from Africa, from Nigeria, who are refined in their English, in their articulation, such that the scripts, the Hollywood scripts, never appeal to the kind of refined actors they are. So according to her, she says that Hollywood has a picture, and one of the challenges she's faced is that what they're looking for is different from who she is. They want the Kunta Kinte looking African that speaks with a deep African accent, or they complain that she's not light enough or she's not dark enough, you know, to have an African role in a movie. So that's some of the challenge, and I know that Genevieve Nnaji has also tried to break into Hollywood. Although I know she's had a few successes here and there, and there've been Nigerian and African actors in Hollywood, but we see the roles they played. You've seen Jimon Honsu, who played was it the one that played the role, one of those African Amistad. He played the role. No, they have this African look and they have an African accent. So Hollywood has defined Africa in a certain way. Now, Nollywood actors who are mostly refined can't seem to fit into the Hollywood picture of who they're supposed to be. How do we reconcile that? That's the conversation. Let me see if our producers can play that video so we can see that quickly before we go into the conversation. Okay, the video is not here yet. So while we're getting that video ready, I'll come to you, Chika. What are your thoughts on this?
So I just wanted to say, these are the peculiar challenges you expect to experience. It's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. When you uproot yourself and up and say you're going into a different environment with its own set of unique cultural peculiarities, it's called the American system has their own way of telling stories, right? And we, for the longest time, before the advent of Netflix and the new Nollywood, all of the stories that we had, which we projected on the international space, were those kind of local stories that depicted who we were, how we spoke, epic movies. For the longest time, these were how we told our stories. And so it's not you can forgive it if it feels like America or Hollywood is stuck on perceiving us in that limelight. But I also, I understand the challenges that, you know.
I think it's Hollywood that is, they painted that picture for us.
For the longest time, that was the picture that we painted of ourselves.
We were painting and we're seeing it amongst ourselves. It wasn't exported.
Nigerians would go abroad and take these movies, even if it was during the times of the cassettes and the DVDs. They would go and take that. Even on, you know, it's only Netflix that has kind of, broadened the scope in terms of how our stories have changed. International streaming platforms.
Because I knew there was a season where anything Africa was shown as poverty. We're seen as the human beings that were living on trees. Because even when I got to the US back in the mid-90s, Black Americans were asking me, so you riding on donkeys? Does elephant take you home? Because that's the picture Hollywood described. So that picture is what they expect of you. So you now come as a Stella Damasus to US and I'm wondering, hello, aren't you not supposed to be looking like a gorilla?
So I don't even think it's just limited to African countries. I think it's limited to what they term as third world countries. Because I remember reading an article from Jackie Chan, and he was saying how he eventually broke into Hollywood, how they belittled him, they looked at his side, said his face is a caricature, said so many things negative about him. He said how he suffered for so many years before he eventually broke into the limelight. So I know that is what they actually do, like feeling like, okay, they are on top of the world and we are third world countries. So they do that. And I actually agree with Chika that we actually allowed ourselves to be belittled, because when we go there, like they come to our country and we give them high role, we call them different high names. Meanwhile, when we go there, they call us refugees. And different, okay, why would they come here? We are calling them, giving them expatriates, giving them big names. Because if you don't appreciate yourself, nobody will appreciate you for who you are.
Let me come to Amaka.
Like what Chika said about them being stuck in the perspective, I just call that intellectual laziness. Because it's 2025. Like, why are you not learning? The world is big. the media is there. As in, what is going on? You just choose not to know. You just choose, you know that these things are out there, but you choose just to be intellectually lazy because that suits your narrative.
Live in your bubble.
Yeah. Live in your bubble, right? So, as in, you know, it doesn't make sense to me. But then, as a continent, like, you know, Africa, we have to tell our own stories, and how we tell our own stories matters a lot. Yeah. If you go to Dubai, for example, the only story Dubai is telling you is a story of luxury. When you think Dubai, you think luxury. That's a projection of who they are. They weren't like that before. When did Dubai become a luxurious place? But then that is how they've decided to project themselves. And you know, I always like what Moira is always saying on this thing when she talks about rebranding. As a nation, we need to rebrand ourselves. We need to start telling our own stories. It's okay, we have a history. And then we also need to start telling our stories of even when we weren't using, even when we're going to the toilet, to the bushes to use it as a loo. We need to also tell our stories of how we've evolved to sitting on toilet seats. When you go to China, they still use the ancient and local. For me, that's the worst thing. That's the thing I didn't like about China.
I recorded it.
Yes,
I was so embarrassed to post it because I'm like, hey, this I was embarrassed.
I couldn't. So, like I said, the toilet. When I go to public place, that's what they use. So when I go place, like now they now make sure that they always have one normal toilet for foreigners, because I could not understand. That was a culture shock for me. So if China, that is supposed to be in 2065, developed already, is doing that.
This is my concern, because for this whole conversation, let me tell you what my concern is. Because I think this problem is still a Nigerian problem. Let me tell you why. Our music, Afela sang his music, Afrobeat, the way he did it. Until tomorrow, that music is exported.
Yes.
We were singing almost like the foreigners. Nobody heard us. Until we started singing our own song with our own languages, with our own vibes, with our own. That's when the international community began to appreciate our music. We had songs in this country that were trying to mimic foreign songs, but none of those things went viral or went global. Nobody was interested in it because you're trying to sound American, you're trying to sing pop like the pop. You can't sing hip hop more than the owners of hip hop. You can't sing R&B more than the owners of R&B. Until we created our own beat, that it became exportable. Now, a Nigerian actor who acts Nigerian, who speaks a Nigerian accent, is likely to be spotted by Hollywood because he's African. But you that have been foreignized, you have been refined, you have an accent, you have a mix of a bit of the local Nigerian, everybody, you mix the accent small, you have a bit of fair skin. Hollywood is confused because you are not them. You don't look, you might, in your own mind, you look American. But to the African American, you're African. So so that problem is there. So do you think it's an identity problem on the side of the Nigerians? The question.
I would say that the world keeps evolving. People continue to migrate. People from different parts of the world continue to marry and intermarry, do business. You know, everything seems like a harmonious blend at some point. And so while I very much appreciate the place of culture, staying true to who we are and authentic to who we are when we tell our stories and express our various art forms in entertainment, music, I appreciate that. But also, we have children, for instance, who were born to couples who maybe the mom is in Nigeria and the dad is from America, and the kid was born abroad, lived abroad for so many years, maybe came back to Nigeria. So what would you expect a child like that to retain that sense of Nigerianness, even though, you know, there's obviously been some sort of mix?
So there's a John Boyega, who is an actor. Though he is American. There's a Chiwetel. Those ones, they are foreigners. I'm talking about the ones that are born. So somebody like what's that? That young Nigerian, that artist, that very, very obnoxious guy.
An actor?
No, he's a singer. That has his blonde hair, obnoxious. That was jumping on the roof in an NBA party.
Ruga.
That was NBA party. Father in heaven. I remember his name.
Ashake?
No.
I know we are talking about the name.
The NBA party he has a blonde hair. He's always getting in trouble. Portable. Do you know a Portable might have a better chance in Hollywood than Stella Damasus?
So we should make.
Let me tell you why. It doesn't make it nice. I'm trying to make you understand. A Portable as he is might have a better chance in Hollywood because Hollywood has it. So my problem is, how are we redefining what Hollywood, the picture Hollywood has of us?
But what I hear from you is authenticity. You're just trying to say, that what I hear from you, it's important regardless of anything, be authentic to yourself. Like, for example, where it's important, like when we're on TV, if someone hears me, I've heard people, both in this country, out of the country, hear my voice. I was not even here, I was at the airport coming back. And this is not just 2 days ago. And I was talking with somebody, I ran into a friend that we hadn't seen, and we're like, oh, and then someone said, is that not Amaka Orakwe? I said, I watch you on TV. You have to be authentic, that when people hear your voice or whatever, they know this, they can spot you.
Yes.
So some people will come on TV and then they have a different accent and they're trying to speak a certain way or sound a certain way, and then you mix it up. When you're authentic, it's easy for people to identify who you are. And that's what she's trying to say, even in your personality, in your behaviors. And for an actor, you need to stay true to yourself so that people can know you for who you are.
I hear that, but the point is that Stella is true to who she is. She's a successful Nollywood actor.
But
she's both successful locally and
they seek validation. And I think the biggest problem is when we keep seeking validation from others, we will never be true to ourselves. Now, I remember the other time when BET was a problem, we always looking at it that, okay, Grammy, if we don't get Grammy Award, we are a nobody. Why do we give them those honors or feel like if they don't rate us high, we on our own, we are not. We know that in the music
Hollywood
industry, we are doing well. We are doing great. Tima Savage made us proud now. Didn't she perform? She did now. Did she beg for it? I believe she has earned the right to have that. So, like, we are big, and they know that we are big, but normally they usually put us down, and we always accept to be put down. So I feel we should stop seeking validation from them.
But Hollywood is a platform that is anybody across the world needs that extra validation that Hollywood called me. So the question now is, as Chika was saying, we must therefore force or cause Hollywood to redefine that the perception of what African actor is, because Hollywood has defined us as a certain way, that it is a portable I want somebody that just looks crazy, that speaks a certain way, that has that is a bit restless, because African definition to somebody who is jumping around, who is that, so in their own scripting, the African role there is somebody who's just speaking like Kunta Kinte or doing something.
That's where we are right now.
Therefore redefine that.
So that's
so we need to redefine that.
I've seen some Nollywood movie makers and filmmakers and producers in their bid to cross over to the other side, to Hollywood. So what they do is sometimes they travel abroad and they do a fine mesh of some of the top performing Nigerian actors, maybe take them over there, or those who are already there, have them collaborate in movies with Hollywood actors. I've seen that, happen, and that makes it easier on the eye if you have it. But honestly, we're not Africans as Africans were 60 years ago. We're not Africans right now. Even we're Nigerians, yes, but come on, we wear African fabrics, but in European styles and patterns. A mix has happened, and so we need to keep instead with the moving times. We really have to change that narrative.
And this takes me to a point I wanted to make earlier. Do you know that if African or Nigerian actors are willing to work with African-American actors like a Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry will not judge a Stella. Tyler Perry will not judge a Genevieve.
The journey and the movement.
But we Africans, until Hollywood, the white Hollywood, accepts us,
that's what we feel.
We don't feel validated.
Yes, exactly.
So that's the problem. That's what you're saying. Because we are looking for validation in the wrong places. We are looking for validation with white Nollywood. But the truth, they are African-American movie producers who are probably willing to work with Africans. But we haven't also given them that respect. And it takes me to the comments I made recently, which went viral. But it wasn't a recent viral, but it was an old video many years ago on your view, where I was saying that a lot of parents, some parents, not all parents, some parents, when you're traveling abroad, they sit you down and say, when you're going to America, don't go and start hanging out with those African Americans. So you have to stay with the white community because we need you to go focus on your schoolwork, your education, and go and get pregnant and trying to coach you. Don't mix it. So because the picture they have is different of African Americans in a certain way. So that mindset is what will make somebody like an actor who go to Hollywood and expect only validation from the white Nollywood and not interested in what the African American community are doing. Because if you go there, there's a possibility they are likely to work with us. than the white Nollywood. That's
but they don't really like us. Majority of Black Americans.
Go ahead, Chika.
Yeah, majority of Black Americans, because I lived in the US for 2 years. I lived in New York and Jersey. So the Black Americans see us as Africans who pride ourselves on being the extremists of the pure Africans, and that we look down on them as, you know, Americans who have been adulterated. So there's even a disconnect. There's as of today, there's an existing disconnect between Nigerian Africans or Africans, pure Africans, and then the actual Black Americans. So, and even within their communities too, these battles that we're facing with acceptance, with the white folks, it's still an ongoing issue over there as well. So regardless of how much we fight these issues, what I would really say to this is, there's the vision or the picture that a true Nigerian paints or a true African paints. It has changed over time, but we must not completely lose who we are. It's still important that we tell African stories the way African stories are as of today. If you go to many of those film festivals, the ones in Africa and the ones abroad, all of the movies that do, the movies, documentaries and short films that do very well are movies that depict who we are.
Exactly.
And even futuristic. I've seen some futuristic African movies where, like, what's this one that Chad Boswick did? The guy who died?
Wakanda.
Yes. You know, mixing African stories with technology, futuristic. We can do all of that.
Now they painted Black Panther, they painted their country well. Americans always paint their country well. Look at Air Force One. Look at so many other ones. They will look like, oh, America is the heroes of it. What do we paint as a producer or as a writer or as a film director? We would usually paint killing, ritualists. Is that not what we paint? We will paint suffering. We are suffering children, using children anyhow.
Corrupt police.
So we don't even paint a good picture about ourselves. We are beyond that. You would say, they used us for, there's a film that they shot with Captain America, I think Captain America Reloaded or something like that, one part of where they showed Nigeria, and they wrote Lagos or something, and they showed the houses that were squashed together, and there was a bombing that happened, and they showed the people, hey, I'm not like, what? Is this how Lagos is?
Is your Lagos not squashed?
But they are beautiful places.
Let me take this call. Let me take this call. Tosi, are you there? Thanks for calling. You're live. I lost that call. Let me go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this video, and I'm hoping our viewers can actually, I know our producer can show the video so our viewers know the conversation that we're referencing. Akamaka was going to say something.
Okay. So I think in this particular situation, find out that the Nigerian, the guild that is in charge of the actors, they have a lot of role to play, in the sense that if you're part of an association, it's their duty and responsibility to also look for ways for the Nigerian actors to integrate globally, right? But then you also find out that this is an inherent issues within us as a community. Why? Because in schools you find out that kids are told not to even speak vernacular in schools, but to speak English. How do you even promote that? Like, you understand? So we're losing ourselves as a people. So if a child going to school has been taught not to speak vernacular in class, but to speak English, and inculcating that, and then you find out that most kids can't even speak the local languages.
Yeah,
even you can be Igbo living in Lagos, and then you don't even know the Yoruba. You can't speak Yoruba. Right? And I'm coming, you can't speak Yoruba. Because I remember tomorrow, most of the time, my brother will come to my house and he'll say, I don't understand how you watch all these movies that you can't even hear what they are speaking, but you're so interested, you're watching them. I watch Indian movies, I watch all these Korean movies. I'll just be like this, they'll be speaking, they talk, I'll just be so happy. So that's the same thing. Like we need to be authentic to ourselves and export our own and tell our stories as our own. But that's what people love, and that's what people can resonate with.
So I mean, I've always said this before, and I think I did a TEDx talk on this many years ago, and it's been a campaign for those of us on this show. I have really always said it, that we have to tell our own. We have to paint our own picture, because Hollywood was deliberate in painting a picture. And I always go back to how Hollywood invested, how the government invested heavily in Hollywood, especially during the World War II, I believe, when they're trying to show the American people that America was winning the war. You know, and they have all these movies talking about our boys, we're rescuing them, how we defeated the enemies. You know, all these war movies then were really heavily invested by the American government to paint a picture of how America was the world leader. This has begun to paint pictures pictures. Gradually, they were investing. Before we started seeing, I think it was drones. Before we started seeing the movies, Hollywood was the very first launch. Every technology we have was first launched in Hollywood. In movies where you just see something show up on screen and you're wondering what's going on. Everything was first launched, and it's because the government is working hand in hand in Hollywood, saying, "No, before we bring this product to the market, let us test it. Let people start let's tease them with it with Hollywood." So Hollywood shows us the future.
What's to come,
The same thing with Nollywood. Nollywood, my child has never in her life seen a clean-looking Nigerian police officer, because every movie we paint is a picture of a very scruffy-looking policeman standing on the street asking for 20 naira. My daughter has never watched a Nigerian movie that has a world-class hospital. Because every movie we show in Nigerian movie is showing hospital where you are just come here, go rush it, come and carry the banner, come bring a person down to the hospital. We've not painted the picture, but somebody in America is investing in movies that are showing the NYPD as this huge institution that helps to save lives, showing firefighters. They are painting a picture. Because there's a child in Alabama in her life that has never been to New York and is wondering, one day when I go to New York, I'll see a real New York police officer. Because the same way the Hollywood has painted that picture to that child in a village within the US, the same thing with that picture has been painted to us. So instead of a Stella Damasus waiting for Hollywood to validate, it is Nollywood that we need to invest in and to paint that picture that is exportable. That people wonder, Africa that we thought was this way. This is not Africa. This is who Africa is. They are telling their own story. They are redefining themselves, and this is who they are. And they must take us for who we are. Because that's my own perception on this.
I absolutely agree. Which is what it goes back to what I said, that the picture that Hollywood had for the longest time were pictures that we first painted. People perceive you how you perceive yourself. How you carry yourself is how others will carry you. And so I agree that we need to come back and retrace our steps and say, what can we do to create more robust systems where we're able to tell our stories, export it as it is, and whether we gain acceptance or not, as long as we are thriving. There have been times in this country where Nollywood entertainment contributed hugely to our gross GP. We have the government now investing in film villages, and all of that, but we can do so much more. And I know for a fact that, like you said, if we're able to get that collaboration with African Americans, the stories will be.
I'll come to that in a minute. Let me take Etta. Etta's been holding. Good morning, Etta. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Go ahead.
Been along with Mariah.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
I want to contribute to this, and I say once again, we always want to get our validation from outsiders. What Nigerians, what Africans. Stella Damasus is saying she's upgraded herself to what? To the American standard or to the African standard? Bring a Halle Berry to Nigeria and come and tell her, turn the table around. Can a Halle Berry come and act an akara seller in our own top-notch Nollywood? She can't. So why do we feel that we want to go and act there and they will accept us fully? When Nigerians are crying out loud, can we for once be proud of who we are? I am always so excited with Amaka Orakwe with her Igbo accent. Stayed abroad so many years, yet she's proud with her Igbo accent. She said somebody could identify her voice. My daughter always says, I am Amaka Orakwe, an entrepreneur. And I said, yes, do not speak down on her, because that is her originality. We are adopting the American, the British, and we're looking very funny in it. We don't seem to know. We are not there. Let's be original. If you say you want to get your validity from the American film or from the British film, you can never speak like the British. Let's be real. Polish yourself up and down. Go and do your voice training. You're not them. The real American will still pick you out as us. So, I don't see the training. Even you, Mariah, that's been in America, school there. You're not fully an American. Your accent is not fully. Yes, very sweet, but you're not the original. Let's adopt and encourage our own originality.
Thank you very much,
give ourselves a validity.
Okay. So in 2015...
No.
Oh, sorry. I
Yeah.
remember we're holding for you to
Yes,
speak. Oh.
yes. So I want us to also look at this conversation from an economic standpoint, right? And then we'll talk about private partnerships. And then, like you said, that before you launch any product, you see it on TV. That's because that's marketing. And that's where you call on entrepreneurs, you call on business owners to partner with Nollywood to be able to project Africa or to be able to project Nigeria. Do you understand? As well, because if they don't have those right partnerships where they're not spending all their little budgets on certain things, then they can do better.
Yeah.
Because the reason why Hollywood also thrives is because of lots of partnerships and lots of all these companies paying a lot of money to be projected on the screens. Media is huge. Do you understand? So these people have very little budgets, so they need lots of private
that's Nollywood,
support.
right?
Yes, Nollywood.
Yeah.
Lots of partnership and then the Ministry of Arts and Government Intervention, Arts and Culture also has to encourage these investors, because if you're putting your money or you're not by cash but maybe equity, you want to be able to make sure that it's yielding benefits and value to your business and your company. That's what we need.
I'll come to you. Let me take this call. Hold. Good morning. Thanks for calling. You're live. Hello. Oh, it's a video. Okay, I wanted to play that video so that Nigerians see what we're talking about. Then we'll come back to Moyo. Please show that clip.
They're like, no, there's a particular kind of accent that you must have. So that's why they force our people to put it on. Hey, my name is this. Have you ever come to this place that you... I'm like, we don't
sound like
talk like that. Maybe one or two small countries in East Africa, but I'm Nigerian. They're Ghanaians. They're different people and we all sound different, but we don't sound like this. She said, but that's what Hollywood wants. That's what they're used to. Most of the Nigerians that have done big screen movies in Hollywood are people that were raised in England. Most of them have a different type of accent, you know. And they say to me, we want an African to be very dark. That's the kind of African that we are used to. We're not used to your kind of African. We want Lupita dark. I'm like, okay. So you're not dark enough and you're not white, you're not light enough to be half caste. So it's hard to place you. You're not mixed race. Then your accent. You don't sound American. You don't sound British. Neither do you sound African. I'm like, how do you think Africans sound? Because Africa is filled with 101 countries, and inside those countries, we have different dialects and different accents. They're like, no, there's a part.
So that's the clip we'll be discussing. Moyo.
She's just, I don't know why we are forcing over Hollywood and all that. So I want to applaud, and I wish that a lot of Nollywood would actually take some steps that the music industry is taking. And I respect Wizkid. 2015, Wizkid actually rejected, he boycotted the BET Awards because of the disrespect that they are giving the African countries, or the African artists rather, because they would say, for you to take your award, you need to come and take it backstage. Meanwhile, the likes of Dre and whatever, or whoever, they will come and take it on stage. So we are not good enough. We were supposed to be behind the scene. So Wizkid boycotted it, but I know that so many other African, Yemi Alade also boycotted, but I know that there are so many Nigerian artists that would have said, BET wants to give me an award. Oh, I need to go. I have to take it. No, by the time we start showing respect, they would automatically respect you. When you sell yourself and you belittle yourself, people will definitely disrespect you.
Let me take this call from Francis. Thanks for calling. You're live. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you, ladies. Good morning.
Good morning.
You see, let me follow. I think it was one of the callers that said, why are we looking for validation from outsiders? Chika said something. You know, this adage, Africa, we have a lot of adage that I don't believe again. You tell me they smell you the way you smell yourself. My sister, it is not true. The lady sprayed a perfume, entered the lecturer's office, believing it was smelling nice, and the lecturer was like, who sprayed this rubbish? So they don't smell you the way you smell yourself. Be yourself. Leave validation from people who you are not part of. Stay in your place, stay on your lane. When you stay on your lane, and do what you are supposed to do. Let the people know that this is my value. If you don't like my value, maintain your own. Let me maintain my own. Not until they tell you that your own, not until those people tell you it's okay before you know it's okay. How many Africans have told the the Hollywood people that they are okay. They don't need your validation. Why do you need their validation? They don't need yours. Why is it that we don't think about it? Except they give us validation, that is when we are okay. I'm not okay with it. I'm a full-blown Nigerian. Let me sound like my president. Hollywood, allow Nollywood to breathe. Allow Nollywood to breathe. We have the best of it. It's just because they value what they have. Let us value what we have. If I want to go overseas to go and act movie, that means I'm ready to do what they want. But let them look for me because they need that value. Let us look for them because we need their value. Please stay on your lane and don't let their validation become what has made us. It has made us look like
beggars.
The new improved slavery. New improved slavery is what we are having.
Thank you very much, Francis.
We want to go for the meet.
Thank you so much, Francis. So, you see, another thing angle I'd like to come on is the role of the African American community. And I know, I mean, I didn't want to bring back this conversation, but the truth is that we need to consciously be willing to bridge that gap between us Africans and the African American community. And the reason is because we have much to gain together. You see, they also are having challenges with Hollywood. It's not every African American actor that has the inroad into Hollywood. They are, if you follow some of their actors, they see Tyler Perry as a savior a lot of time, who has been able to come and break into that industry and pay them what they are worth and be able to value them. Because sometimes they also have that challenge of, oh, you're not dark enough, or you're not light enough, or you're not this enough. They also, over the years, they were stereotyped for certain roles. So they are also looking for a platform that honors them. So Nollywood can actually fit into that platform. Nollywood can actually say, you know what, we are opening an inroad for this community where we reform Nollywood such that it is at par, where African Americans are therefore aspiring to be accepted into a Nollywood. And they are there saying, how can I get a role such that we are building that industry together? So I think also as Africans or as Nigerians, we need to start relooking and stop trying to focus on Hollywood, but see how we can partner with those who look like us to build the industry, which is already the second largest market.
So what is the Actors Guild then doing? What's the association of the Actors Guild doing?
Why don't we talk about the African partnership? Where Nigerian actors and actors
Kenyan,
and Uganda, so that we can showcase the different cultures. So we can become powerful on our own. Where we can tell different stories. We can tell how different African countries intermarry. You know, the different cultures, the different things that they have, the tribes that they have there. They have the dress, the lifestyle, you know, what they have, the parks, you know, what each country has to. We're huge. There's a lot we can do together and build our own BET in Africa. Like, we don't even need, they'll be the ones looking for us to buy the stories and stuff.
What are the Actor Guild Association doing? What
is
the purpose of the?
It is their job to go and look for those opportunities and collaborations and
looking for those opportunities.
We have a problem with the guilds. Please leave the guild alone, because they are still helping to pay medical bills. We have actors. They are still sorting out welfare, because we have to. Our Nollywood, as much as it looks nice and fancy, but there are still fundamental issues that needs to be sorted. So I'm not sure the guild. They have a role to play. I agree with you 100%. But I think they have bigger issues.
I think that many of these new age filmmakers and people who are stakeholders in the film industry are beginning to do this collaboration.
Chika, can I pause you? I'm sorry, because I want to get your point properly. I have to go on a very short, because when we come back, we'll take Chika's point. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter. Chika, I was going to say something.
So I was just going to make a point that some of these new age filmmakers, maybe not the mainstream filmmakers whose names resonate in a huge way, but some of these new upcoming, emerging filmmakers are actually starting out the process of this collaboration with other African countries. I attended a festival sometime last month in Lagos, and that festival, showcased and hosted quite a number of filmmakers from Kenya, from different African countries, and showcase films from across, the African continent. And that was beautiful to see. And I can only imagine the number of partnerships and collaborations that will even emerge just from that festival alone. So I think it's beginning to happen. We need to encourage that to happen more. I was also going to say that these are easier times now to have the collaboration that you talk about, in talking about collaborations between Nigerians and Black Americans. Just last year in the hospitality and tourism industry, we know how much was recorded in earnings for this country from Dirty December. What is Dirty December? It's Black Americans and many, people who live abroad, coming back to say, we want to return to the motherland. Yandy Smith, who is a Black American in the entertainment industry, her and her husband just recently got a citizenship in Ghana. So many Black Americans actually want to return home. They have this yearning now to come back home. They know that their roots are here and reside here.
And we must be receptive.
You see, the question is, beyond being receptive, do we have the necessary infrastructure, conducive, enabling environment to make these ones feel comfortable and safe enough to come? The issues that we're battling with security, insecurity, with healthcare.
They want. Is that discomfort?
They want to come up with the uncomfortable. When they feel if they feel unsafe, if they feel they can be kidnapped, if they feel that the roads are terrible,
you're right.
Because they're used to the system working where they're coming from.
I was trying to make a point, but you didn't come out with it. You're right. Let me take this call. I'll come to you, Amaka. Thanks for calling from Agodo. You're live.
Yeah. Good morning,
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Elijah Nima.
Yes, she'll be back soon.
Okay. Mrs. Morayo, God bless you, ma. It is well. I want to thank TVCO. I called in yesterday.
Okay.
I'm using this opportunity to say thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
They saved me actually because I was at the BRC station yesterday. I was assaulted because I defended myself. Number one, there was a Sole on the road and I could not commute with public transport. That was the normal down to CMS. So I had to enter BRC because I believe that it is the state property. And I was really assaulted as a married woman. I was like, is it because I'm not wearing my ring? I don't understand. But I thank God for the police who came to my rescue. And I was arrested because I defended myself. A staff actually assaulted me. He assaulted me heavily. But I thank God that, in essence, what I want to say is that don't enter Sole. Please help us tell our home go. Come out with Sole by. Be out is going to be possible. Anybody so bad, that question. No, this is where I'm going to.
Thank you very much for that public service. What is Sole?
Sole are vehicles that pick up passengers on the road, so they don't park at designated bus stops. They just, you embark on a bus as you go along the road.
Okay. So thank you very much for giving us that information. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So I wanted to say, I think we're not telling enough stories culturally, right? Because if I want to, reference a cultural story in Nigeria, it would be the Yoruba movies. They're telling a lot of Yoruba cultural movies, and the epic movies, the heritage, everything. The Igbos are not really telling enough of the story. The Igbos, we don't really have the Igbo stories. I know, like Charles of Play, that they're retelling like the Pretty Sapi and other stuff. But we're not telling the cultural stories. We're not telling a story. The Igbo, like if you say, okay, what happened to how did the Obi of Onitsha come about? We're not telling the stories that matter. We don't have those stories. The Yorubas have they're telling a lot of the cultural stories. They're not telling the stories. The Ibibios, we have a rich culture. And we don't even know, how can I not know the Ibibio culture by the movies? There's so much that we don't know about. So
there's an opportunity.
There's a market, and we're not tapping into it. Why?
Okay.
And we're looking at Hollywood.
Let me take Imade. Thanks for calling, Imade. You're live. Good morning, Imade. Okay. I think we lost that call. Do you have a comment on social media? While you take. Go ahead.
Okay, so I also want to say the Minister of Art and Culture and Creative, Anatu Musa. I think she has a lot of work to also do in terms of what Chika said about uniting and connecting and. No, sorry, Amaka said, and helping us to merge with other African countries in doing something globally. You understand? Bringing our. So I think she has a lot of work to do. So also help Nigeria or Nollywood. to go to a bigger
I think
site.
also, Moyo, I think government has a huge role to play here.
Definitely, yes.
To have a level playing field. Because the only reason why a Genevieve or a Motola or Stella would live in the US or hope to find a way and inroad into Hollywood is because Nollywood is doing, they're in little pockets. Everybody's just doing their little things. There's not that one uniting force. So you know what? There's a strategy because Hollywood had a unified strategy from the beginning. We also have to have that because if government plays their role, it gives a level playing field where everybody can say, you know what, this is where I want to key in. I want to key into the scripting. I want to key into the wardrobe. I want to key into the writing. I want to key into the production, the camera, lights, set. You know, there are so many parts of a movie production that right now everybody's just doing a little pocket. So I think one of the things we have, because I would rather all our actors put in all their ammunition, their experiences, their expertise into Nollywood. But I don't blame them for leaving because Nollywood too has not been united. They've not had that united front to say, okay, this is how we're going to target this market and maximize the opportunities or the potential in the market.
Yeah, but there's budgets. I believe government gives budget for different sectors.
Certainly.
So what are they using the budget for then if it's not to grow Nollywood to international standard or to put us globally on the map?
So those are conversations we have to have with Minister. Let's take the comments on social media.
All right, so we have a few comments. We have this from Janet. She says, Nigeria is too volatile for Black Americans. They want stability, and that's in East and South Africa, which is the point that I was speaking to. While I was saying that, you know, we're beginning to have collaborations, but there are bigger issues that need to be tackled. So Corey Michael was saying, Chika, do you see your hypocrisy? You want to make your place conducive for outsiders to come, but you haven't made it conducive for us, for yourselves. Yes, I spoke to that about making the country conducive enough for, you know, if we're going to get this collaborations. We also have comments from, who else? Let's see.
Glory Joseph says, if I speak Ibibio for one Yoruba man, be sincere, una go gree give me the job. So if we start by saying be true to yourself, whether I'm Ishekiri or Ishan, accept me the way I am from home first.
You know, let me take, thank God for my brother. Thanks for calling, you're live.
Yes, I just want to greet you people. I want to greet everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Hello.
I just want to greet you. I want to greet everybody.
Thank God. Thank God for greeting us. All right. You know, I think it was Amaka that alluded to this earlier. And I know by saying that, when I went to China, let me not use the tush word, squat toilet, shalanga. That's the word. I don't know what they call it in other tribes. But the shalanga that in my entire life, I'm 45 years old, July 6th. I have never seen shalanga in my life. I have heard of it. I know it exists. I've been told about it. I have never with my two eyes seen it until I went to China. I was shocked. I didn't post it. I was in shock. And there is refined shalanga. They don't put the ceramic thing that we have on the floor. I'm like, I'm not squatting. Like, well, that's the toilet. So unfortunately, there was somebody who was using the handicapped which was a regular toilet. So I had to wait for her because all like 20 toilets were all shalanga. I'm like, I know you shalanga in Nigeria. Now come to China tomorrow. Forget about it. But after 2 weeks, at some point,
your legs will pain you.
I had because then we were on the road and they said, you want to stop on the road? We want to use the toilet. We all came down from the bus. And the public toilet is all shalanga. I had to now start recording. But how am I going to do this thing? Am I facing front? Am I facing back? Because so the point I'm trying to make is that is somebody using their own culture. They modernized it. So we come here and say want to refine or want to make the place more convenient. It is that was I was trying to refer to that. It is that your village house. Is that thing that makes you unique? Is that your clay pots they want? Is that your thing that is uniquely African?
But definitely not insecurity.
Definitely not insecurity, absolutely. But is the uniqueness because you bring these foreigners, right? Remember there was a family I had many years ago. They invited African Americans. And they wanted to make the house very conducive. They painted the walls, the couches, everything looked so nice. Those guys came into this beautiful mansion. And in their own mind, they treated them well. Those ones went back. And what they had, they were not impressed because they felt that you gave us all this luxury in the midst of poverty. Everywhere around you was poverty-stricken with people, and here you are trying to make us look that. To them, they couldn't reconcile. So the problem is, I always say that we always feel as if, we are moving forward, let's not make this conducive, but they are not blind that there's poverty in the land. So what they want is structure in the chaos.
Yes.
That I want to arrive and I want to live in Makoko. But in that Makoko, let there be toilet, let there be clean toilets, let there be security, let there be I don't mind saying in Makoko to show the experience of living there, but let it be conducive, let it be secure, let it be hygienic, let it be decent enough. I don't mind saying that Makoko community. We are the ones looking for living in Ikoyi. They are not interested because what are the Ikoyi going to provide for them that they don't already have? So it's that uniqueness that we must continue to see how we can project it. How do we do a movie in Makoko and not just show the poverty, but show that, okay, they are fishermen. They actually go to work. They actually live. I watched a movie from, Indonesia, where somebody they were living just like Makoko, the water community. And they were living decent lives. They were not living in the big mansions, but they were living decent lives. So how do we project what we have to be marketable and exportable? That's really the conversation.
I think mainly because people really travel around the world or even come to Nigeria for 30 December for the local experiences. Yes, so that's it. Like, what are you offering? I don't want to have the same thing that I have here. I want to go somewhere else and experience different cultural, to taste the cultural experiences that you have to offer in your country. So I think we need to, like she said, project what we have.
Okay. Yes, I think also that 30 December, what made it a huge success is not just the local experience, but the people, the Nigerian people. Because many of the people, these 30 December people, when they came, they went clubbing, lounges, but it's the essence. There's something very unique and exceptional about a Nigerian that we must play to. Absolutely. So what I'll say is it's important that we love ourselves enough and see value in who we are as a people, where we currently are in the grand scheme of things, and we must play to our strengths. If we're going to collaborate, there's nothing wrong with collaboration. When you go together, you go faster, but it's important that we don't lose sight of who we are while we're collaborating, and that we just continue to go where we're loved. Go where you're appreciated. It's as simple as that. I think that's
your final words.
So me, I would just want to say, no matter whatever we are going through, I just feel the government has to do more, because no investor, a Tyler Perry will not want to come to Nigeria hearing the insecurity that is going on. So even if we want to play our part, like some people might want to go to the northern part and say, okay, let's play the role, let's film the role of what have happened to bring more awareness and to bring more help for development over there. But nobody will want to because of the insecurity. So I think that's one of the problems government also has to tackle.
I think that's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things. Did we take any more comments? Well, do you have like 1 minute for any? Do you have any important comments?
No, so they were just talking about what you said, the latrine, Nashalanga. Nashalanga might be a Chinese word.
Somebody here said, Andrew in Straight said, that's a lazy generalization about Nigerian mental toughness. There are still African Americans that have been to Nigeria and love it.
Okay. That's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things that we have. We'll see you tomorrow for Pigeon, and then Monday also. Have a great weekend. See you then. Bye for now. Bye.